This is J. Krishnamurti's first public talk in Madras, 1969-70.
I'm awfully sorry you have been kept waiting for 5 minutes. Fault of the electricity. I wonder what you would like me to talk about. First of all, I would like to point out, most definitely, that this is not a philosophical or religious entertainment. You're not here to be amused or to be intellectually or emotionally stirred up. We are apparently here for a very serious purpose. And to go into that very deeply, one must be clear in our relationships. Your relationship with the speaker and the speaker's relationship with you. Sitting on a platform doesn't give the speaker any authority whatsoever. Unfortunately, he has to sit on a platform because it's more convenient for everybody. We can see each other. But that doesn't mean he has any authority whatsoever. So let us be clearly understand that. Then we must also understand what is the intention of these 4 meetings and the discussions that are going to take place here. We are going to communicate with each other. Communicate means to build together, to think together, to partake together, to create together. That is the meaning of that word, communicate. And so, we are going to learn that is, there is no teacher and the taught. Because that implies you, the taught, be informed, and the speaker teaches. There is neither a teacher nor a pupil, but only learning. Together, we're going to learn. And to learn, one must have the capacity to hear. Not only to what the speaker is saying, but also to listen to your own responses to what he is saying. We are both of us going to learn. And that act of learning itself brings about its own discipline. The word discipline means to learn, not to conform, not to obey, not to comply, accept, or deny, but to learn. That being so, our relationship is entirely different. We are going to learn together. And that has enormous vitality, beauty, and requires great intensity. When you and the speaker together are going to discover and learn. So you have to be not only free to listen, attentive, eager, intense, and passionate to find out. You can't just sit there and be told what to do or what to think, because it's not a propaganda. We're not out to convince you of anything. Of any principle, of any ideal, of any theory, or a new conceptual way of living. What we are going to concern ourselves is entirely with a principal thing, which is to learn. And learning is an extraordinary thing. Because learning implies a mind that is free to find out, free to inquire, not casually, not intellectually, or emotionally, or devotionally, or whatever you want, but to find out. To find out about this enormously complex life. This life that's so full of conflict, so full of pain, misery, confusion, anxiety, guilt. Life that's so violent. That's your life. The life of one's own agony, misery, travail, and whether the mind can be free of all this. That's what we're going to learn. And to learn, you must have energy. You know, if you want to learn any language or any new technology, you have to give your mind and your heart to it completely. Otherwise you can't learn. You must not only be curious to find out, you must also be free to inquire. And you cannot inquire if you are tethered to any form of belief, conclusion, or an ideal or a principle or your own particular experience. So do please bear that in mind all the time. that you cannot possibly learn if you have the least prejudice. If you have come to any conclusion, or if your past knowledge is directing you how to learn. Learning means a free mind to inquire. And therefore, inquiry is not only intellectually, but with your heart. Therefore, our relationship is not that of a teacher and a disciple, which is terrible, which has destroyed this country. To learn, there is no authority at all. It's only when you are taught something there is an authority. But if you are learning together, moving together, walking together, journeying, inquiring together to find out, then you put aside all your prejudices, your conclusions, your concepts, your desires, but just to observe and learn. Learn not according to your temperament, not according to your particular experience, or according to your previous knowledge, which prevents you from learning. You know, a scientist, when he looks through the microscope, has to put aside all his hypotheses, all his conclusions, all his previous knowledge, and look. He looks and let what he sees through the microscope tell the story. He doesn't tell the story of about what he sees. What he sees through the microscope is telling the story. You understand? This thing that is seen through the microscope is telling the story, unfolding. And it must be proven to other scientists. Otherwise it's not a fact. Other scientists must see through the microscope, discover the same thing, test it, and therefore there is no agreement or disagreement. There is only seeing what exactly is. So we have to put aside to observe not only your temperament, your conclusions, your wishes, your desires, your hypotheses and ideologies, but through observation, let what you see tell the story. Right? Is this clear? So, what we are going to do during all these talks and discussions is to learn through observation. Not your observation or my observation, but the observation of a mind that sees very clearly, that has no prejudice. If it has prejudice, put it aside. Your conclusions, your tradition, your put all that aside and look. when that is very clear, not only verbally, but actually, that we both of us are looking through the microscope, not what you wish to see or what you want to see. Therefore, what you see and what the speaker sees, what he or she sees, is always the same. You understand? That's a great discovery. That you and the speaker, another person, sees through that microscope exactly what is. Therefore, your knowledge, your hypothesis, your conclusions have no place whatsoever. And that's a great beauty in it. So, that being clear not verbally or intellectually to yourself as a fact, that when you want to see something clearly, all your prejudices, conclusions must be set aside. If you are a Hindu, Buddhist, communist, socialist, Muslim, Christian, all that must be set aside to observe, to learn, to look. Right? Are you doing this? I hope. Otherwise, we shall not be in communication with each other. Communication being creating together, walking together, working together, learning together. Now, what is there to talk about? One sees throughout the world, and in India also, that man has divided in himself and in the world outside and inside. Divided himself as the community and the individual, as the believer and the non-believer, the communist and the socialist, the good and the bad, what is right and what is wrong, what should be and what should not be. Divided. He has brought about fragmentation, both outwardly and inwardly. Fragmentation being technologically, he is a scientist, he is a technocrat, he is a bureaucrat, he is a professor, a religious person, a sannyasi, a monk, non-believer, and so on. He has divided the whole of existence. If you observe in yourself, you will see how you have divided, you are in self-contradiction, how there are opposing desires. This division between me and you, between we and they. They're Brahman, non-Brahman, you know the division that goes on in the world. The Parsi, the Muslim, I won't go into it. You know it very well and we know it. Now, why do we do this? What is the reason that human being, the human mind, has broken up this fragmentation that's going on all the time? Why? Where there is a fragmentation, there is division, right? And where there is division, there is contradiction. And where there is contradiction, there must be conflict. Right? Please, you're not agreeing with me. You are observing it through the telescope. Therefore, you are learning by observing. Therefore, you are not being taught by me, by the speaker. What you are seeing is teaching you. You see this in the world, this fragmentation. The various political parties, the various gurus, the various systems of philosophies, the family opposed to the community, God and the devil, happiness and misery, confusion and clarity. Why does the mind do this? And when you ask that question, you're also going to ask, where is man going? Where is India as part of the world? Where is she going? In one, pursuing one fragment and letting other fragments go by? Becoming technocratically efficient and let the other fragments deteriorate? I do not know. If you ever put this question to yourself, where is man going? Not India only. Where is the stream carrying us? Historical as well as non-historical? The pressures, the strains, the conflicts, where is it all going? If you say we are going towards God, then you're not looking through the microscope. If you say we are evolving slowly, gradually towards perfection, again you're not looking. If you say the communist or communism is the only answer, which is a fragmentary answer, a political economic answer, not a total answer. If you say the communism will solve all our problems, then you are not looking closely through the microscope to learn. Or if you say science, or the technocrats will arrange everything marvelously. That is, the fragment cannot possibly answer the total problem. You're following all this? The technocrat, who is only a part of this whole structure of the human being, the human mind, the human heart, he cannot possibly answer. Not the economist, not the socialist, not the politician, nor the guru. Because he in himself is divided, contradictory. He lives in a dualistic world. So, a fragmentary approach to this whole human existence, which is so complex, cannot possibly be answered through fragmentation, through division. Right? Is that clear? Please, not clear, made clear by me, by the speaker, but made clear by your observation through the telescope, seeing the fact that there is division in the world. Fragmentation, and through one fragment, however capable, however efficient, the totality of human existence cannot possibly be answered. Right? So I ask, why is there this fragmentation? Why is there this division between you and me, between we and they? We, the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, the ex-people, and they something else. You understand? This is not just an intellectual comparative question. This is really a deep, vital human question. Have you an answer? Or are you looking and letting the question bring the answer? That is the fact of this division in yourself and in the world, this fragmentation. By observing it, it will tell the story if you know how to look. Right? You understand this, my question? How the art of looking, so that by looking, what you see is telling the story, and you are not telling the story at all. Right? Now, why is there this division? I don't know. And do you? Don't invent. Don't say, yes, me, the ego, the self, thought, the higher self, the Atman, the Brahman, all those just theories. So you must first put the question. The question being, why is there this contradiction, this division, this fragmentation, this duality? Now we're going to learn. We're going to learn by observing, not by agreeing with the speaker. Not saying he's right or wrong. Oh, he hasn't said all of it. There's much more to it. Both of us are going to learn together, communicate together. First, are you aware, conscious, that in you there is fragmentation, a contradiction. And what does this contradiction do? That is, there is a division between one fact and another fact. Right? One desire opposing another desire. One tradition, one culture opposing another tradition, another culture. One belief against another belief. And so on and on and on and on and on. This duality. Why? Before you even put that question, see what this duality does. See, not agree with what the speaker is saying. Watch it in yourself what it does. Division exists as long as there is resistance. Right? Right, you're following? As long as there is resistance, there must be division. Right? You're seeing, now I'm not telling you. Resistance being like or dislike, resistance of your experience opposed to another experience, the resistance that you have built in yourself through your knowledge, through your experience, through your conduct, through your memory, as opposed to another. The resistance, when the speaker says nationalism is poison, you immediately build a resistance. When the speaker says all belief, all ideals are stupid, again there is a resistance. To learn is not to have a resistance. Right? If you say, I agree with you, well, what's the point of it? But if you learn what the speaker is saying, learn the truth of it, then there is neither agreement nor disagreement. Then we are working, living, taking the journey together. So, where there is resistance, there is division. And why do we resist? Please follow this. Give your mind to this. And your heart, not intellectually, but give your heart to understand this immense problem. Then it'll be yours. You will live a totally different kind of life. Why is there this resistance? You resist. Resist your wife. You resist your husband. You resist an opinion. You resist a conclusion of another. Why? Please inquire. Don't wait for me to answer it, agreeing with it or disagreeing with it. Find out why you resist. You resist, obviously, because you don't want to be hurt. Right? You have taken security in a belief, in a tradition, in a particular experience. And any doubt, any question about that, you resist, because your belief, your tradition has given you security, right? There you feel safe being a Hindu. And any disturbance in your belief, you're going to resist, right? So, the mind, which is the mind, the brain, the physical organism, resist whenever there is any form of danger to its security, right? You're following all this? I wonder. Because we're going to discuss something, go into something that needs a great deal of your attention, a great deal of your care, affection, not boredom, not your devotion, not your sentiment. This requires very clear observation on your part. We are inquiring into this immense question why man, throughout the ages, for millions of years, has lived in this contradiction. In the ancient pictures, on the walls, in caves, 30, 40, 3,000 years or 5,000 years ago, the same problem of duality, the good and the bad, the evil and the... all that. We have lived like that. And we are going on living that way. And to bring about a radical psychological inward revolution is to understand this immense complex question. Because when there is division between you and me and I and they and we and so on, there must be conflict. And we have accepted a way of life which is conflict. A sannyasi giving his life to God or whatever he does, he's in conflict. May put on a quiet, serene face, but inwardly he's boiling, as you or another. So till we learn about this, our life will be a perpetual battle. There will be no peace inside or outside. You may go to all the gurus and meditate. You will never have peace till you have really learnt this. And the moment you have learnt it, you are as good as anybody else. You are as good as all the gods and the saints in the world. Right. I hope you are also working as hard as the speaker. We said we resist because we have taken security. We have taken shelter. Please go step by step into this. When you resist and therefore conflict, that's a waste of energy, right? You understand? When you take a vow of celibacy or poverty, and that very vow creates a contradiction to the obvious fact that you are not, you are passionate, lustful, there is a contradiction. And therefore that's a waste of energy. Right? You're following this? Are you following all this? Where there is conflict of any kind, there is a wastage of energy. That conflict is brought about through resistance, through contradiction. Contradiction exists when there is a wall between you and something else. Right? So, the mind, the brain cells themselves, and the organism demand security, safety. Right? If you had no security, where you're going to sleep, where your meal and so on, your body will be disturbed. Similarly, the brain cells have taken shelter in memory, in belief, in thought. The very structure of the brain demands that it be completely secure. Otherwise it can't function efficiently. Right? Because it is not insecure, because it is not secure, there is conflict. Right? You're following all this? I'm afraid not. Don't you take security, comfort in your family? And if anything happens to that family, you are disturbed. Don't you intellectually take shelter in some hypothesis that there is God or that there is no God? Don't you take shelter in your idea of what love is? So the brain demands complete security. Therefore, it finds security in things which cannot possibly bring about security, as in nationalism, as in belief, as in division, yours and mine. Right? You're following all this? And therefore, our brain has become inefficient. Right? Efficiency means the highest capacity of energy in function. And if you observe how your own brains react, you can see how the brain cells themselves are living in the past. Right? You're following? You are living, you who think you are living, you are living in the past. Every knowledge is already the past. Oh Lord. So the past, in the past, the brain is taking security. And so the past comes to the present, modifies the present. The memories are modified in the present, or added, or taken away, and moves into the future. Right? You see it? So there is security in the past, uncertainty in the future, and confusion in the present. No, do watch it, please. Don't laugh. Watch it, learn. So the past will invariably divide. You find this? And the past is the observer who is looking through the microscope. You're following all this? So, the brain's cells, the whole structure of the mind and the organism, the psychosomatic structure, is the past. The past being memory. Memory which is conditioned by the culture, the society, the economic thing and so on in which it lives. So the past, because in that there is security, there is resistance. Right? You're following all this? Do understand, do listen to this, learn about it. You will see what an extraordinary thing will bring about a revolution in yourself. So the observer is the past. The observer divides because he only knows resistance. And therefore the observer and the observed. Right? You're following all this? Look, sirs, when you observe, what is it that is observing? Do observe. You understand? You're sitting there, the speaker is here. You're observing the speaker, looking at the speaker. What are you looking at? Not only the form of the speaker, the face and the gesture, but you're looking at the speaker with the image you have about the speaker. Right? The reputation. Right? You're looking at the speaker through the screen of your own image, of your own conclusion, of your own hopes, despairs, pain, pleasure, which is the past. Right? So the past is the observer, who is the image. That image is the reputation and so on. Through that you are observing. So there is division. Right? Right? Do you see this? So there is division between you and the speaker. You, the observer, and the speaker, the observed. Right? There is space between us. Space, physical space, which is time. And there is the space of your conclusion as the observer. So, as long as there is this division between the observer and the observed, there must not only be resistance, there must be contradiction, there must be conflict, there must be perpetual war. Right? Are we journeying together? Then the question arises, since man began She has lived in this contradiction between the good and the bad, the devil and God, and so on. And there is this, in this division, there is resistance, and that resistance is created by the observer, who is the past, the me, the I, the ego, the opinion, the conclusion, the concepts. He is the observer, and the thing observed is you or I, and therefore there is a division, right? And this division creates conflict and therefore complete waste of energy. Right? That is, man seeking security, he must have security. Must. Complete order. Order means security. Right? Physical order, intellectual order, order in the brain cells themselves. He must have order. Order means security. Physically, you must have order to get your next meal. And order means security, safety, so that the brain can function perfectly without any resistance, right? Now, how can this happen? That's now the next question, right? You're following all this? I wonder if you have not followed why you are here at all. This is not an entertainment. This is not a devotional meeting. This is something tremendous if you go into it. You'll find out what love is, which we'll go into afterwards. So the question then from this arises, can there be observation without resistance? Can there be observation, seeing, listening, without the listener, without the thinker, without the experiencer? That means, can the mind, the brain, be completely innocent? You understand? The word innocence means incapable of being hurt. You understand? Not all the symbolic meaning. Incapable of being hurt by anything. By society, by experience, by nothing can hurt it. And because it is capable of being hurt, therefore it resists. Therefore it divides. Got it? Therefore it protects itself in nationalism, in God, in some potty little book called the Gita or the Upanishad, something or other. Right? So, can the mind, the brain and the heart, the whole organism, observe without the observer? You followed all this? Don't say afterwards, what is the observer? It's not the higher self and the lower self. That's just another theory. The observer is the entity that has sought security through resistance. Knowledge as a means of resistance, information, class division as the good and the bad, the heaven and the hell, my family and the community, the individual and the whole. You know, the word individual means something quite different from what we generally have meaning for. Individual means indivisible. An individual means that which is not fragmented. And because he is fragmented in himself, he has built a society around him which is fragmentary. And he has taken a shelter in one fragment. And that fragment is the past, which is the observer. You see how it all fits in? Oh, you don't see the beauty of it. So, you know what beauty is? The beauty of a face, the beauty of a smile, the beauty of a sunset, the beauty of seeing something extraordinarily subtle. You know what beauty means? Beauty means sensitivity. Sensitivity to words, to gesture, sensitivity to the tree, to a child, to a face, to a smile. And there is no beauty when there is any form of resistance. And the sannyasi, because he says, I'm going to find God, I must resist every form of sensation, desire. You follow? Never look at a woman, never look at the nature, the cloud, the lovely earth. He has built a resistance. And therefore he is living in a world of torture, division and conflict. Right? So from this arises the question, please listen, can the brain and the whole structure and the nature of the human being, can he have complete order, absolute order and absolute security? You follow? If he cannot, he will resist. Because resistance means not being able to hurt, not to be hurt. You're following? So can he have complete order? Order means complete security. First of all, I don't know if I want to go on. Do you want to go on? It's 6:45. Am I working, the speaker working, or also you're also working? That means we are learning together. You know, to learn together for an hour, that is, to give all your attention, your heart, your body, your nerve for an hour. You know what it means? It means that your brain and your mind can't stand more. The speaker can go on because it's his life. So, I'll just go into it briefly and we'll go on. When do we meet next? When is it? 31st, which is the Wednesday. We'll meet again on Wednesday so we can go on with this particular thing. We can discuss on Tuesday something else. As we said, we are taking the journey together. We are learning together. We are looking through the microscope together. And what we see is not according to your wish or my wish. The fact is there. And the fact is telling the story. The fact says you must have, the brain must have complete security and order. Otherwise, you will be in conflict. Otherwise, you will have no peace in life at all. You may meditate till doomsday, you will have never peace. You'll always have war, both within and without. So you must have order. Now, wait a minute. You know what order means? Do you? You can put order in your room, right? Put dirt under the carpet. Or throw it out of the window onto the neighbor. Or put the responsibility of order on somebody else. Or think order is to live according to a pattern laid down by Gita, Upanishads, by your pet guru, and so on, so on. Is that order? Or there is no blueprint for order. Please do understand this. There is no design, no pattern for order. But to find out what is order and the beauty of order, the freedom of order, one must understand what is disorder. Right? Through negation, you come to the positive. But if you pursue the positive, you will never come to order. I don't know if you got this. Have you understood a little bit of this? You know, those who are neurotic, psychopathic, and so on, they believe in something so strongly. And in that belief, they live and have perfect order. Their faces are very quiet. Their smile is benign. There isn't a wrinkle on their faces. Because they have found order in something which gives them complete security. And what they believe in has no validity. But they believe in it. Right? So that is disorder. I don't know if you follow all this. Belief is disorder. Your belief and my belief. Belief based on fear. And being fearful, take shelter in a belief and hold on to it. Though that belief has no validity whatsoever. I'm sure you all believe in brotherhood, don't you? Huh? That we are all brothers in the name of God. But you're not brotherly, are you? So the belief has no validity. But you take shelter in that belief. Therefore, that belief is creating hypocrisy in you, which is, in essence, disorder. Oh, do see all this. Your ideals are breeding disorder. Because the ideal is over there and the fact is here. And you take shelter in an ideal of non-violence, whatever we will. So, order comes naturally, sweetly without your invitation, when you understand the structure and the nature of disorder. Right? Disorder. As we said, belief is a complete disorder. And yet you will go on. You hear the truth of this, and you will go on with your belief. Because to you that has become extraordinarily important, in that you take shelter. Whether it creates disorder or not, then you begin to say, I must have order, therefore I must discipline myself. Therefore I'll obey, I'll conform. Again, shelter in that. Oh, you see it? No, I'm afraid you don't. Right, sirs, we'll continue next Wednesday. But please bear in mind that this is not an intellectual, spiritual or religious philosophical entertainment. This is a very serious matter. Because the crisis in the world demands a serious mind. Demands that you give your attention, your heart to this. Not just few words and few beliefs and few gestures. And to learn needs no teacher. To learn implies freedom. And when you are learning, there is no past, no future. Learning is a movement. Therefore, you put aside all authority, whether of the book, of the person, or of an idea, or of an experience. Then life becomes something extraordinary. From there you can go to great depths and heights. But without that you cannot possibly move. Right, sir?